I'm on my way to the village of Holmfield to visit what is believed to be the oldest remaining flour mill anywhere on the prairies. What is even more remarkable is that all of its machinery is intact. It could even work if we wanted it to. I'm Gordon Goldsborough, president of the Manitoba Historical Society, radio and newspaper columnist, and author of books on the neglected, the overlooked, the hidden places from Manitoba's past. Join me in this series as we explore back roads to places that tell great stories about how things used to be and how we've ended up where we are today. This is Abandoned Manitoba. I'm here in Holmfield to meet Eric Harrison, whose grandfather built the mill between 1897 and 1898. The Harrison family has owned and operated the mill ever since, and Eric and his late brother Bill were still milling flour as recently as 1997.
Oh, hi, Gordon.
Good morning, Eric.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Eric, a retired lawyer, has agreed to give me a tour of the wonderful old mill and to tell me what it was like to operate it.
There's two cleaners here, and when the wheat comes down from up top, it comes into these cleaners here, goes here, and then down into here. And then here's another leg over here. After it comes through this second cleaner, here's another leg, you can see it, and it gets picked up and taken up to the top again. Mm-hmm. So you really tried to get it, the stock as pure as you could get it, as clean as you could get it.
Now, Eric, you said wheat, but is there a specific kind of wheat that you would mill?
We always milled wheat from our local area, except in wartime. This is the way we get the flour. Now, Gordon, if you come over here and put your hand in there and just feel up, you'll feel an auger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see the bottom of it there.
Yeah.
There. Yep.
Okay, now what happens is this belt above you here drives this wheel, and what we did was we just pushed this down and engaged it like that. And what that does is mesh those two gears up there.
Yes.
Okay, now those gears have been running since the plant was built, and they are meshed when one of them is running. You know, when you're clicking in here, that gear is stopped, and this gear is running from the belt. And they've meshed since, I don't know,
1897?
1898. The auger pushes the bag down. It's pushing the product into the bag, and that auger going around pushes it down. When you get to the bottom, you kicked it off, took the bag off, put it over on the scale, and then this was the flour barrel, this was the scoop, and you just reached into the flour barrel if you were short. You scoop it out of the bag, or out of the barrel and put it in the bag. If the bag had too much in it, you put it back in the barrel.
Right, right. So how much was in one bag? Was it?
Well, we made 50 pounds and 100 pounds.
And you'd have to physically pick a 100-pound bag off there and...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eric takes me up to the second floor. I'm amazed at how good a shape the mill is in. I could almost believe I could still hear it working.
It was built with the idea to get as much flour out of the wheat that you could. Okay, so the way to do that was to roll the bran flat, and then you kept working it. And if you put your hand in there, Gordon, you'll see that put your nails on, you'll see there's a styration there.
Yeah, yeah.
And these machines themselves, there was a place in Stratford that built them, and this was a standard mill built by the Stratford Mill Building Company. I'll take you down to the second break, and I'll get you to put your hands in here, Gordon, again, and feel those rolls.
Oh, they feel very coarse compared to the other one.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the trick. Those are not running at the same speed together. They vary in terms of depth of the styrations.
This is the first rollers that the wheat goes into.
This is actually the second. The first one's on the other side, but I didn't manage to get it all cleaned out.
Okay. And I notice all the pipes in here are made out of wood.
Yeah.
What would be the reason for that?
Well, number one, they had wood, and number two, let's face it, wood is much more malleable. It's much more easy to work with. If you can make a mistake, you don't have to worry about a welder or anything like that. And everybody always said they believed that the wood tastes better.
Oh, really?
You know, metal doesn't give you a good taste.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're putting it through a wooden spout, it doesn't have any rust or contaminations or anything like that in it.
Yeah. I'm just struck by how much of the machinery is made out of wood.
Yeah. This is some of the original milling machinery that they built. And this is what they call a flour miller dresser right here. Look at the workmanship.
Absolutely.
And look at the
It looks
print.
like fine cabinetry. You know?
Yeah. And so what I'm trying to say is that I think if you build something beautiful, even in an industrial application, people will look after it. Like when you think about it, there's not really a mark on it.
Eric, this belt right here, I mean, this was obvious when the plant was operating, this belt would be moving, right?
Yeah.
And so I just envisioned, you know, you got this wheel turning this way and you got another wheel over here. And you got, I mean, it's a pretty hazardous place to walk around, wouldn't it? I mean, like you'd have to kind of walk carefully through here just so you don't accidentally get your sleeve caught on one of these wheels.
Well,
Like you said, you had never had an accident.
No.
That's really
Well,
quite remarkable, it seems to me.
I think it was totally based on my dad's personality. And my dad was never in a rush. There was nothing that you ever ran for.
Yeah. Well, and I can see that.
Yeah.
Rushing would lead to accidents, it seems.
Yeah.
So this axle going all the way through the building, that's essentially the main power supply for the whole mill,
Well, for this floor.
for this floor.
Yeah,
But-
the rolls are drawn off the main shaft and
Which is down.
down on the main floor.
I see. So why are some of the wheels wood and some of them are metal?
I think it was just a question of them working with what they had,
I see.
you know. I can't imagine how they built this in 2 years.
Well, you said, though, that two of the brothers were mill makers. So
Yeah.
it was something they had skill
Yeah.
in. So,
Yeah.
so you said that the mill would often run Saturday mornings. Does that mean that it ran full time then? Or was there only certain times of the year that the mill would run?
Yeah, it was very, very difficult once it got to be 40 below. Like you could start up milling in September, which we usually did, and run right through till the end of November. The friction involved in this place generated heat. And even without any insulation, by the end of the day, it would be nice and warm in here. Like you wouldn't be wearing this. Like you'd just be walking around in your shirt. But then as it got really cold, you couldn't keep it up, especially when they were using steam.
At the end of the tour, I had time to reflect on my experience touring this one-of-a-kind building.
It takes me back to a time when things were very different than they are today. And you know, you don't tend to get many sort of immersive experiences where you actually feel like you're in a functional building. I mean, you can walk through old abandoned buildings, you can kind of get a sense of what it might have been like in the past. But here, I mean, you can almost hear the sounds, you can almost smell the smells. You know, you can see the machines working, and it's just so immersive. It's so real that I don't think there's any place that I've been in Manitoba that has the same experience as here. It just gives me an experience that I just can't find anywhere else. It really genuinely feels like they just turned off the machines for lunch, and they're going to be back in the afternoon milling some more flour. And like that experience is just so profound for me. I don't think there's anywhere else that I can get the same experience.